Huge breaking news is JD, he may return to the Fantastic Beasts franchise. That's right, you're hearing that correctly, with none other than his replacement in the movies, Mads Mikkelsen himself, coming out and endorsing JD. That's right, he's coming out in support. He's also adding lines like saying the course has changed since trial. JD, he won his trial. He could come back. People no longer see him as an aggressor. They see her as an aggressor. They see him as the aggrieved. This is not only a big win for JD, by the way. This is a huge L for AH. I mean, right now, she is having people go out. They're targeting businesses that supported JD. They're trying to shut down actors. Well, here you have the guy that replaced him hyping up JD, and you know that this is done with Warner Brothers' blessing. You and I, we are going to talk about all of that today. This is fun times here. This is fun times indeed. All right, so hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day, by the way. I hope you are doing excellently, and talk about an absolute bombshell. I mean, this is a huge story. Why? Because you not only have Mads Mikkelsen coming out talking about JD potentially returning to Fantastic Beasts, but you have Mads Mikkelsen talking about this at all. Remember back in 2020, this subject was locked down by Warner Brothers. We found out that there were non-disclosure agreements, for anybody that was on the cast. Essentially, none of them could talk about JD and his firings. We saw that too when we had Jude Law come out. I mean, he danced around the subject. He tried to back JD without backing JD. Oh yeah, things have changed. And the reason they're changing, by the way, is I think that this is damage control. Fantastic Beasts, it is dead in the water. As a franchise, it is done after 3, unless they get hype. And Warner Brothers knows if Fantastic Beasts, it failed and utterly, Ezra Miller's being brought up in that too, the conversations are going to return to other movies that haven't come up yet. Movies worth billions. We're talking about not only Willy Wonka and its connection with JD, but of course the Aquaman 2 discussion, AH's discussion, and that connection with JD as well. Remember, Warner Brothers just lost $3 billion plus in Q2. And this pops up just weeks after. Quote, could JD return to Fantastic Beasts? Mads Mikkelsen says, quote unquote, course has changed since trial. Now, you know what's amazing about this, by the way, is the fact that the media, when they wrote this up, they didn't attack anybody in that title. Just a few short weeks ago, Mads Mikkelsen for sure would have had a bullseye on him because they would have seen this as JD endorsement. You would have some kind of declaration in the article saying, how dare this guy? He's a monster for supporting that man. Yeah, it's not here at all. They don't go after him. They don't go after JD. They don't go after them in the byline either. They just make a matter-of-fact statement about the replacement, saying that Mikkelsen, he took over JD's role as Grindelwald in the Harry Potter franchise after JD lost out on a UK libel trial in November 2020. A UK libel trial. They don't even bring up the name of AH. Like I said, that is something to see in headlines. Now, they do bring her name up briefly right here when they're describing what happened, but look at how all this comes together. In the aftermath of JD versus AH defamation trial, Mads Mikkelsen is pondering. I love that word choice, by the way, because it makes it sound like Mads Mikkelsen, he just brought this up, matter-of-factly. He wasn't thinking about what he was doing. He was just having a conversation. Yeah, that's not how interviews work at all. This would be a sound-off sign-off. You have Warner Brothers signing off on Mads Mikkelsen sounding off. None of this. It just pops up, like he's just thinking about it. But He's pondering whether JD might return to Fantastic Beasts franchise. Now, they describe how he got there, by the way. And again, the only mention of it's pretty matter of fact. It doesn't endorse her either. It says, he was replaced after JD lost a libel trial November 2020 relating to allegations from They don't endorse that, which, like I said, is a big move from the media. Then you have these statements from Mads Mikkelsen. Obviously, now the course has changed. He won the suit, the court case. So he's admitting their win. I mean, that by itself is a huge declaration coming from anyone in Hollywood. I mean, that would be perceived as support. But he goes further. He actually supports JD in the statement, too. Then he says, so let's see if he comes back. He might. I mean, that sounds like the mother of all teasers, doesn't it? Ooh, would you like to see him come back to this franchise that's been sidelined, by the way? One I replaced him in, he might do that. Then he endorses JD. He tells you, I'm a big fan of JD. I think he's an amazing actor. I think he did a fantastic job. So he's telling us, I would step aside if JD wanted to come back. Really? It sounds like it's already been discussed before. Then you have them bring up, too, how Mikkelsen, he's done this in the past. Mikkelsen has been open about how, quote-unquote, very intimidating it was to put his spin on the franchise character JD originated. I couldn't copy it. There was no way I could just copy it because it was so much him. It would be creative suicide. So we had to come up with something else, something that was mine, a bridge between him and me. So it was intimidating. Then he brings up the fans. Doesn't attack them. And they've tried to do this so many times with his voice. He says, the fans, they were very, very sweet. Not very sweet, very, very sweet. But they were also very stubborn. They support JD. They wanted him in the role. I didn't interact with them too much, but I could understand why they had their hearts broken. Again, he's empathizing with the people that support JD. He's telling you, I can understand why people had a problem with this. Then later on, he's actually mentioning the court case. I said, this is a thought crime and then some. If you didn't have Warner Brothers actually sign off on this could be a career-ending problem with the Warner Brothers. But since he's bringing it up, like I said, that's not just a win for JD. This doesn't bode very well at all for You have Warner Brothers. It looks like they see the writing on the proverbial wall. Oh, man. But anyway, let me know what you think about this stuff. And as always, I appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff work. Thank you. If you want to help the channel out, links are in the description. Appreciate that. But you being here, that's the biggest help of all. So thank you. Appreciate you. End it here. See you soon.